Hello and welcome back to a special presentation of my Untitled Picks Series. I'm your host Tim, and today I'll be giving you full fight breakdowns for two fights on UFC 249. I'll be starting off with a heavyweight matchup that has title implications on the line, as the second-ranked Francis the Predator Ngannou takes on the sixth-ranked Jairzinho Biggie Boy Rozenstruik. It's a bit of an interesting matchup here, as Ngannou is a former pro boxer and Rozenstruik was a champion pro kickboxer. One upside here is that at least researching the fight didn't take very long. I also don't think that the fight's going to last very long. I know saying that aloud can jinx it, but I don't think that's going to matter for this situation. Both guys are about the same height, with Ngannou having a 5-inch reach advantage, and I expect him to be the heavier man when they both enter the octagon. Outside of Curtis Blaydes 2, it's hard to rate Ngannou's other opponents. Cain Velasquez is now wrestling, and Dos Santos was finished by Curtis Blaydes in round 2 in his next fight. They share opponents in Alistair Overeem and Andrei Arlovski, with both guys getting finishes. But Rozenstruik also fought those aging vets much further into their career, and his finish over Alistair was controversial in a fight that he otherwise was losing. In his recent fights, Ngannou has shown a willingness to pressure, and hasn't shown any unwillingness to engage. Ngannou demonstrated really nice calf kicks in his fight with Dos Santos, and I expect those to be utilized again in this fight. Rozenstruik showed a tendency to want to answer back with leg kicks of his own against Overeem, and while Ngannou was briefly sat down with a leg kick by Dos Santos, he was already starting to time the counter on only the second leg kick that Dos Santos threw at him. Rozenstruik also threw out a lazy leg kick against Overeem, and while Overeem tried to catch it for a takedown, Ngannou would try to counter it with a huge shot. Ngannou has a very nice entry 1-2, judging the distance with the 1 and generally connecting with the 2. He will also mix this up, leading with a 3 instead of the jab. He almost throws a bit of a hybrid between a straight and an overhand right. Even when partially connecting, Ngannou has shown enough power to sit people down or mess up their equilibrium. Rozenstruik has said in interviews that he plans to stand in front of Ngannou and trade, and if that is going to happen, then I think he's in real trouble here. Ngannou touches people and they go down, and I expect Ngannou to connect, and Rozenstruik will be put away early. Of course, these are heavyweights, and that generally means that they both possess the ability to knock one another out, but Ngannou hasn't shown any reason not to trust in his chin. I'm picking Ngannou to win via first round knockout, as he continues his ascent back to a title shot. I'm about 75% confident in this pick. Our next fight will be the number 14th ranked Ronaldo Souza as he takes on the 10th ranked Uriah Hall. Souza is dropping back down to middleweight after an unsuccessful foray into the light heavyweight division, losing to Jan Blachowicz. And he lost against Jack Hermansson before that. Both losses were via decision. He did win his fight prior, finishing a fragile Chris Weidman in the third round. Hall has won 3 of his last 4, with consecutive victories over Antonio Carlos Jr. via decision and Bevon Lewis via third round knockout, a fight in which he rendered Lewis unconscious with a single punch. He lost a tough fight before that against Paulo Costa, getting finished in the second round. Souza hasn't really looked that great dating back to the Gastelum fight. Both men are presumably past their prime, but at age 40, I really think Souza is starting to slow down. Hall is much faster with his striking and has good defensive vision. He can be a bit of a slow starter and gets in his own way sometimes mentally, but I expect him to outwork and outclass Souza on the feet. Souza's main method of attack here is going to be pressuring, throwing big overhand rights, and shooting for the takedown. If he isn't able to secure it, he will look to hold Uriah Hall up against the cage. This is quite similar to the game plan that Antonio Carlos Jr. tried to use against Hall, and Hall was able to pull out the victory in that fight. If Hall can defend the takedowns and fight off the cage, then I think he has a real shot here. However, he can't afford to lay on his back for a full 5 minutes like he did in the Antonio Carlos Jr. fight. Souza has gone to decision in 3 of his last 4, and hasn't gotten a submission win in the last 6 fights dating back to a 2017 victory against Tim Boesch. Hall was able to defend himself intelligently against Antonio Carlos Jr. and has never been submitted in his career. If there is a finish here, I think it will be Uriah Hall who gets it, but Souza is tough and hasn't been finished since the Whitaker fight. I think this most likely goes to a decision, and I'm leaning towards Uriah here. I think he has the better gas tank and can outwork Souza. I'm not extremely confident, but I'm going to go with a slightly younger guy who I think is on a better trajectory right now. I would say I'm at 60% for Hall and 40% for Souza. Thank you for watching the video. Check back for more full fight breakdowns as well as my UFC 249 full picks video. Let me know down below which fights you want a breakdown of, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.